Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. Do you know what today is? Today is Wednesday, the best day of the week. You know why? Because it's comic book day. And that means we're going to be talking about my comic load for the week. Now, a quick clarification before we jump into things. I asked you guys in my last Andrew Cut a Pick of the Week video whether Green Lantern came out or not last week. Apparently, there was a minor screw up on Comixology's part where they released the digital copy of Green Lantern, but they didn't release the old hard brick and mortar version of the comic. So they quickly pulled it off the website. So some people were able to get Green Lantern, like my friend, but some of us, like me, had to wait till when it actually came out. So thank you for everyone that answered my question and cleared things up for me. I appreciate it. I was freaking out. Well, not freaking out, but I was kind of teed off that I might have missed Green Lantern. If it had been a smaller title, that would have been fine. But Green Lantern's a big title to miss. So, anyways, let's just jump into it. And let's start as we always start with a little bit of Batman. A daily dose of Batman with Batman Inc. issue number 3. Now, this issue kind of continues the story that was more or less established in issue number 1 because we had some jumping back and forth with issue number 1 and 2. So we're kind of returning to the main plot. And the big thing about this issue, and although you don't see because this is a variant cover, is that Matches Malone comes back to the New 52. And if you don't know who Matches Malone is, basically it's one of Bruce Wayne's multiple guises, disguises that he uses to infiltrate the criminal underworld. And he does so. And basically, what he's trying to do is find out more about Leviathan, her connection, because I don't think he knows it's Talia yet, but her connection to Gotham's underworld and what she exactly is trying to do. And for those of you that care, yes, Bat Cow shows up again. I'm one of the few people that really don't care about Bat Cow. And that's about the gist of this issue. Without giving too much away, it's really them trying to make connections with Leviathan, who we know is Talia al Ghul. So on good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good, the artwork was fun. I do like the artwork in this. It's growing on me greatly. The Matches Malone dialogue was very nicely done, as well as the Damien stuff too. And in addition to that, we see this web in the back computer, which shows various different things throughout the Batman universe in continuity. And the thing I like about Grant Morrison is he likes to go back and deal with things in continuity. So we face things from Batman Incorporated, Leviathan Strikes, that one-shot thing that came out, I want to say, a few months ago. And then we see Jezebel Jet, we see Batwoman, we see Doctor Hurt, we see all these various things throughout the Batman universe that Grant Morrison has already incorporated into Batman, his run on Batman. Bad. The major bad I have with this is I feel as though this is kind of a little slow. Just a little slow. The pacing was fine, but it's just the story feels like it's slow. It feels like they totally glazed over the Damien being shot in the head thing, which annoyed me. I mean, Damien's fine. Come on, they're not going to kill Robin. Well, they're not going to kill Robin again, but they kind of totally glazed over that. And lastly, last time I checked, the title's called Batman Inc., but we see like barely any of Batman Inc. When I go into this comic, I know Grant Morrison's trying to tell his big epic story and his climax to Batman. By the way, he'll be on Batman Inc. for 12 issues, and he'll be on Action Comics until issue 16. Just found that out. But there's very little of the actual Batman Inc. This is supposed to be a team-up comic for me. I know it's not going to be treated as such, but that's what my mindset going into this is. I believe El Gaucho and Batwing make an appearance as the thugs that help out Matches Malone. But other than that, where is the ink? On the whole, this issue was better than the first one, but not quite as good as the second one. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Decent issue. Okay, so moving on. The next Bat title that came out this week was Batman the Dark Knight. Now, Greg Hertz is continuing his story that deals with the Scarecrow, and basically Batman is trying to find the Scarecrow as quickly as he can because the Scarecrow not only is, you know, taking little kids and torturing them with fear gas, which continues in this and is really unsettling in kind of a good way. It gives you a feel of how screwed up and scary the Scarecrow is, no pun intended. But he also has to get the Scarecrow to help out Commissioner Gordon, who was kidnapped last issue. We also get to see a pseudo origin for the Scarecrow in this. The Scarecrow's origin was always in Four of the Kind, and this adds to it. It does not change it, it just adds to his origin. And again, it's kind of an unsettling origin with the Scarecrow. And Scarecrow and Batman have their kind of the big fight, which leaves off on a cliffhanger. Good. I think Greg Hertz really knows how to take Bat villains and make them uncomfortable and unsettling. There's one part where there's three panels where they show a kid playing in the playground and on a seesaw with another kid. Then the other kid goes away, and then you see Scarecrow come up and take the kid. And it's really an unsettling thing. I don't know if it's because it's a Scarecrow or is it because he's doing it to kids. Either way, it's unsettling, but in a good way. He really knows how to add atmosphere. Um, the story is paced very well, and in addition to that, the fight scene at the end was entertaining because Scarecrow's not a massive martial artist like Batman, but how he fights Batman is kind of fun. The only problem I had with this is how did the Scarecrow know Batman was there at the end? Besides that, this issue was really good, really really fun. 4.5 out of 5. It was a good thing. Okay, we're moving on to Flash issue number 11. So Flash meets up with Flash is still pretending that he's dead, burying their Barry Allen kind of persona and just going and hitting the streets. And he's no longer a cop or a detective. He's just kind of doing his own thing. And he kind of comes across this bar, which is a bar where all the rogues go to, well, get drunk. And he meets up with Captain Cold there. Again, Captain Cold doesn't know who Barry Allen is, but he goes there and he's trying to find information. And while this is going on, Heatwave, another rogue, shows up and has a little confrontation with Captain Cold. The two rogues go at it with Flash in the middle. What happens? Just gonna have to wait and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. Um, the artist in this is a good artist, and I did enjoy their art. I don't think it's the same art. It's not the same art we've been getting, and I do prefer the other art, but the art is good in this. I do like the fact that we're again introduced more rogues, and we see the build up to what will be, I think, an interesting story once all the rogues get together. Because if you look at the preview for the annual for Flash, we get to see there will be a big rogue showdown. And I thought the dialogue and the pacing of the story was nice, and I like the change of pace for the Flash. Bad, the only bad I can say is for the last two issues, I felt as though the rogues have been just kind of thrown in there. I like the stuff they did with Captain Gold here, but Heatwave was kind of underutilized, similar to how I think Weather Wizard was last issue. The previous issues with Grodd and Turbine and with uh, Captain Cold, they were great introductions and utilization of the characters, but I feel as though Heatwave was underutilized in this. But besides that, this issue was good. I did enjoy it. I will give it a 3.5 out of 5. On to Aquaman, issue number 11. So in this issue, we find out what exactly is Black Manta's plan, and where did Aquaman and the others get all their items from, and specifically what connection those items, Black Manta and the others, have with the sinking of Atlantis. And I'm going to leave it there because I do not want to give too much away. Because if I open my mouth anymore, I'm going to give it away. So, good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I'm just gonna skip right to it. Everything was good about this. Uh, there was no bad right away. Pacing was great. The dialogue was great. The tension is great. The fighting, there wasn't that much fighting. No, there wasn't. But It didn't need to because the tension more or less made up for it. We get to learn about Atlantis, we get to learn about the items, and we get to learn about Black Manta's plan. It's just a really good issue. 5 out of 5. Aquaman, pick it up. There was nothing bad to say about it. That's why, a comic's good when I kind of just go right through the review because it's good. Another Justice League title, the Savage Hawkman. So Hawkman, he has these scrolls that he's had for the longest time, and the scrolls kind of talk about winged visitors from the Celestials, and we all know it's people from Thanagar. But anyways, he goes to a priest in Rome to try to get it deciphered. Apparently, the priest has something up his bum because he gets pissed at Hawkman, say that everything he's doing is blasphemous, and has his agent or disciple, Saint Bastion, attack the Hawkman. This was quite a ballsy move by Rob Liefeld to portray the church in such a way. So, good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Fighting was really good. The art was good. I forget the name of the artist that did this, but the art was good. I like that they're kind of incorporating Thanagar in here, and it's in a very subtle way. Hawkman's little sidekick, the girl that he's working with, I found she was entertaining, and I like the cliffhanger at the end. Last issue, I didn't care about the marksman or whatever the guy's name is, but I did like him at the end of this issue. I should really know his name because it stood out to me last night when I was reading this. Um, or when I was reading this, but I I forget his name now. His name is Pike, which is an interesting name to have. And he looks kind of cool, so he is growing on me, but I just think his reveal last issue was badly handled. But how he was handled here, it's good. Um, Good, bad, whether. Bad. I think it was a ballsy move to portray the church in such a way, the Catholic Church. The way I think Rob Liefeld should have gone about it is he should have said that this is a sect derived from the church. And I think he kind of hinted it in there, but he should have hinted it a little bit more. Because some people could take this the wrong way. Uh, it's fiction. I really don't care. You read the Da Vinci Code, everyone's screwed up in that book. But yeah, so I think that might be the biggest problem. Another thing is we're introduced to this villain Saint Bastion, but I'm not sure if we're gonna see him again. Besides that, this was a pretty decent issue. 3.5 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it, and I'm looking forward to more Hawkman. Rob Liefeld, despite any goods or bads that he has, and I'm not going to get into that, the one thing he can do is he can get me a little motivated to want to read stuff because in an interview he talked about all the stuff he wants to do. Now, whether or not he does it right or not, we'll see, but he definitely got me, he perked my interest. So, 3.5 out of 5 for that, too. Getting a lot of 3.5 out of 5s. Superman, issue number 11. So, let me talk a little bit about a show. This show is called Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. See, on Sunday, the Hub is having like a marathon every Sunday. Not a marathon, but like 3 episodes of The New Adventures of Superman. I remember watching it when I was growing up. I didn't watch it as much as I thought I did, but I still did. And I enjoyed it when I was growing up. I thought it was big and huge and epic when I was growing up. And now rewatching it, there's quite a bit of nostalgia to it. And it's a fun interpretation of Superman. But you're probably asking, Andrew, why are you talking about this? Why are you talking about how you're watching Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman on the Hub? Well, like I said, I have been watching it with my fiance, and you know what I like about that is I like the fact that they very much play up Clark Kent, and they very much play up his relationship with Lois, and it's fun that way. This issue kind of reminds me of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, because half this issue is Superman going around and fighting against a Russian Superman, and really, well, the fight is pretty heavy. Best way to say it. But on the other hand, we also get Superman or Clark Kent being awkwardly put into a double date with Lois, his sister, and whatever his name is that Lois is currently banging. So we get to see a bit of that too, and it was fun. It's just miscellaneous drama for Superman, more or less for Clark Kent, but it was fun. And I like that. I thought that is something that's been missing with the Superman stuff in the past few issues, because in the beginning we kind of got a bit of that, but it wasn't until now we started to get more. So I kind of like that. So I guess that counts as good. I thought the silly drama between Superman, Lois's sister, so on and so forth was fun. I thought the villain Superman was fighting came off as intimidating of all sorts. It's going to be a one-time villain. See, the thing is I think what, and okay, I'll get into this in the bad. I'll do that now. I think one of the problems Superman has is where Batman is introducing new characters and new villains and utilizing them successfully. The reason why, other than the writing is good with them, is the fact that they're going to be recurring characters. Uh, every villain that we've seen in Superman that is new probably will never return again. Will not be recurring characters. This monster in here that Superman fights, awesome monster. I think he's really fun and he really pushes Superman to his limit. The problem is other than issue 12, we're probably never going to see him again. Whether or not you should get it, yeah, definitely. This was actually a pretty decent issue of Superman. 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it. On to Where's Waldo? Well, I might as well call it Where's Waldo. Green Lantern, issue number 11. Black Hand is back. He's a Black Lantern again. And, well, he starts raising the dead. And Sinestro is back. He's a Green Lantern again. And he starts doing Sinestro things. That makes sense. This issue is really broken up into two parts. One is Blackhand going around and talking to his dead family, which is subtle but it's fun. And then we also get Hal Jordan and Sinestro trying to learn about the prophecy in the Book of Black. And we go to Sinestro's Batcave, or how Hal calls it. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I love the Sinestro stuff. I really do love the redemption story that's going on with Sinestro. And I don't know if Jeff Johns had this plan back in 2004 when he was writing Green Lantern then, or if this is something that just kind of came about. I love it. And Sinestro is quickly becoming one of my favorite Green Lanterns, second only to Hal. Hal is still my favorite, but Sinestro, I think Sinestro is awesome. So really love the Sinestro stuff. Black Hand was his stuff was fun in here, and it was a weird but interesting take on Black Hand. But it was welcome, definitely welcome. Great setup for the Third Army, or whatever the big crossover is going to be with the Green Lantern comics. And some nice personal moments while we're in the Sinestro cave. I particularly like that how he had a mural of his wife on the wall, and he has like a trophy area for his various power batteries. That's true. Sinestro still has his yellow ring, doesn't he? Someone answer that question for me because I'm not quite sure. Does Sinestro still have his yellow ring because he has his yellow power battery, or is it gone because I think a Krello or whatever his name is has the only yellow ring? Give me some information on that. On a whole, great issue. 5 out of 5. I really don't need to get into the bad, just like Aquaman, and I don't want to give too much away. The one thing I have to ask is, and this is just a theory, don't take too much with this, but know how we've been seeing previews of that Green Lantern with the mask and the gloves and the rolled up sleeves and the gun? Anyone else think that could, like, there's a 10% chance that could be Black Hand? I've been calling him Black Mask. Black Hand. Yeah. Anyone else think that could be Black Hand? Because they have similar masks. If you look at it, they both have rolled up sleeves. I'm not saying it's the case, but it could be possible. Moving on, another Green Lantern book with the Green Lantern, the New Guardians. So basically, the New Guardians, we'll just call them, yeah, the New Guardians, show up, take on LaFreeze, all out battle, and that's basically the issue. Big ass battle with LaFreeze. And it comes to a boiling point because Invictus, and that's his name, I believe, Wants to live free, but in this issue, we find out who's the one that is the ring stealer and who sent all the rings out. And poor Saint Walker thought he was getting revenge on his own planet, but he finds out that Lefreeze, he didn't send the Reach. Lefreeze said it best. You think I would really want to send someone else to destroy something? I want it all. I want to destroy you. So we get to see a bit of that. Good. It was an all-out blowout battle, which was fun. It's some sad moments too with Glomulus. Poor Glomulus. Invictus, I thought he was kind of intimidating, especially how he can control the solar system as like a ship. It's like borderline Sephiroth crazy. So I kind of like that too, and I also like the reveal. I'm not surprised by the reveal, but I like the reveal too. Bad. Well, there isn't any bad here. It doesn't stand out that great either. I'm still going to give this a 4 out of 5, but it didn't really stand out all that much to me either. It had a lot good going for it. It just didn't have that thing that made it stand out the most. On to Voodoo, issue number 11. So, Voodoo and Priscilla are on the same planet, trying to get the same weapon, the holy demonite artifact that will help out Hellspawn and destroying the world. Yada, yada, yada. And basically, they have to get past these Centurions, or these Guardians. Are they called? Yeah, Centurions. It could be anything. You can call them, like, I don't know. Yeah, you could call them bodyguards. You can call them Centurions. You can call them Lieutenant Worf. It doesn't matter. So, anyways, they have to get by these things. But Priscilla's team, led by Lincoln, is getting beat up by these demonites that are really disturbing. What makes me uncomfortable about these demonites is they evolved this way, they look this way because they're cannibalistic. That's kind of disturbing. And there's some disturbing images in here where I just sit there and I look at it and I go, wow, wow. So we had some of that, and then we have the two Voodoos finally meeting each other, getting prepared for the final showdown. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I'm gonna pull another one of these. This was all good. It's sad to see this series go, and I'm gonna go on my rant because I do this every time Voodoo's out. People automatically knocked Voodoo down because she was a stripper, an exotic dancer in the first issue, which was only the first issue. From there, this story has evolved so much and so well. It has become such a compelling, different story where there was so much twists and turns, and anything can happen. It's a comic book that was not predictable, and that's what I liked. It wasn't predictable, and the fact that this comic is getting canceled is pretty sad because I really have enjoyed this comic. Uh, 5 out of 5. The pacing was great. The art was great. The art has been beautiful throughout this series. The showdown's going to be great in next issue, but the build up to that was good, and just the atmosphere, the uncomfortableness that comes with it. Well done. All Star Western issue number 11. So, Tallulah, I think that's her name, the female who is working with Jonah Hex. Uh, they basically want revenge on some of the Bible's people, but a Court of Owls also wants revenge too. Eventually, Arkham, Jonah Hex, and Tallulah. I hope I'm saying her name right. Her last name is Black. So Miss Black. They all get put into a pretty predicament. Uh, they get caught by some crooked cops. But we learn more about the crime Bible in the Bible too. We know more about who they are, their positions, and exactly their motives. So on to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Uh, these characters grow on you so much, from Miss Black to Jonah Hex to Arkham. They really do grow on you. This is turning out to be a great cast of characters. Continue using these characters. And boy, is it scary to see how many scars are on Miss Black and Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex's back is just devastated. I thought I almost saw his spine. It's ridiculous. The dialogue was very nicely done. Particularly my favorite area was when the Bible. I keep on saying babble. It's probably because I'm babbling. The crime Bible. Uh, my particular favorite part is when they're just talking to each other about what they're going to do with Jonah Hex, how they're going to go about it. Maybe they'll do it themselves so that they can prove a point to their people. I thought that was handled very nicely. And it really gave us depth and atmosphere to these villains. It's something that needs to be done, and it was done very nicely. I like how there is that kind of war between the Court of Owls and the Crime Bible. Bible, Bible, Bible. So that was nicely done. Bad, 0. All-Star Western is some of the best of the new 52. 5 out of 5. Vampire issue number 11. So we have these zombies, but they're not really zombies. They're actually mummies. Mummies versus vampires, and Andrew Bennett has to basically protect his kin. Him and Mary, Queen of the Blood, are basically the only competent vampires in this. Some vampires go so far to bite the mummies and contract their curse. So now we have mummy vampires. Oh my god, that is just hilarious. Um, But really, there is just a big blowout fight between the mummies and the vampires. At one point, uh, Andrew does something. Andrew, he does a really cool thing where he starts torturing someone, rips off all their body parts, and while the person's still alive, he's like, "You can't do anything to me," and he goes, "I can put you back together and rip you apart again," and he does. It's disturbing. It's really sick, but it's funny too. And this has set up for what will be a great 12th issue. I can't believe I'm doing this again, but this has been a really good week. 5 out of 5. Vampire had nothing wrong with it. Really has just surprised me. It's like American Vampire, which I haven't read but I heard about. Those two series are taking vampires and they're working them well. Okay, down to the last two comics this week. Teen Titans issue number 11. So, Cassandra Sandmark's armor is getting all horny. No pun, actually pun intended. Um, Basically, her armor is getting out of control, and she's striking out at the Teen Titans, in particular Bunker, Kid Flash, and Solus. Red Robin and Superboy eventually fly in to help her out, but she's losing her freaking mind. Where it says, "Behold the true Wonder Woman," or the Wonder Woman's armor revealed, it's not truly revealed in this. We get to see, not Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl. We get to see Wonder Girl wearing her freaky armor that we get to see there, but we don't get to see the truth on where it comes from, other than the fact that it pretty much controls her. Nice, fun little thing is Superboy gets a little throwback to his old costume. He's wearing his, cut off shirt with the S on it, and his tattoo that I guess is permanent. He's also wearing a leather jacket, and he's wearing those kind of glasses, and it's a nice throwback. Good. I'm interested to see where the story's going. I'm interested to see what happens with the armor. I like the throwback with Superboy. I like the dialogue in this. Bad. I feel as though, and maybe this is just me, but I feel as though panels were missing. Like, stuff was happening, and they're like, we don't need this panel of Wonder Girl showing up. We don't need her talking to this person here. We'll just skip it. That's at least what I think. And I think that hurt the comic a bit. That, and we don't really get any revelation or any hints or inkling to exactly where this armor came from and exactly what it's doing. We just know it possesses Wonder Girl. On a whole, 2.5 out of 5. It was an okay issue, but Teen Titans has been real hit or miss series. Some issues have been fantastic. Some issues have been meh, readable. And we'll finish it off with Before Watchmen, the Comedian, issue 2 of what? 6. Wow, we're going 6 issues with this. Thought this was going to be a 2 of 4. Um, so this is basically, and what I'm doing with the Before Watchmen is I'm not revealing too much of the story. Let me paint you a picture though. Comedian, Vietnam. Comedian in Vietnam. Yeah. Last issue was an okay issue. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5. This I'm going to give a 3.5 out of 5. It gets a minor bump in its ranking. Uh, The dialogue was very good in this. The art was very good. I liked the direction of the comic, especially the psychology that was going on with the comedian. The only thing is that I felt it was a little wordy, and at the end, I felt as though it slowed down dramatically at the end. That's why I didn't give it that high of a score. But comedian was still fun. I think it's the weakest out of the Watchmen right now. But again, we're only 2 issues in. And Brian Azzarello is doing it, so he's probably going to pull it out and knock it out of the ballpark towards the last issues. We don't know, but it was an okay issue. So there was a lot this week that was good, from iVampire to All Star Western to Green Lantern to Aquaman. Um, which one was the best? You just have to wait till my Andrew kind of pick of the week. However, that is my comic load for the week. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.